You found just stories, simple, heartfelt moments from real lives, stories that remind us how connected we all are through love, loss, and hope. Get cozy. The stories are about to begin. The women walked along the long park alley talking. Marla and Sarah discussed the latest events in their lives. Now that Sarah was married and had a child, Marla and Sarah saw each other very rarely. Lila the border collie ran beside her owner, step for step, looking around. He was calm and restrained, as always. Marla let the dog off the leash. He glanced back, waiting for verbal permission, and hurried off. The dog played with other dogs in the fenced area. Marla and Sarah had been here before, and Lila knew everyone here. The dogs quickly started a game, and now joyful barking filled the air around the enclosure. "I feel sorry for you, Marla," Sarah said. And this phrase was so unexpected that Marla stared at her friend. But she continued calmly. "Look at your life. I have nothing. I'm already 26, and I don't have a family, no children, not even a boyfriend. Only work and a dog, nothing else. You're wasting precious time. No one will marry you at 30. You'll just keep living alone with your dog, computer, and chocolates." "I was like you too until I understood what real female happiness is. It's our main purpose. How can you refuse it?" Sarah asked, bewildered. Marla was still silent. She smirked, anticipating where this conversation would lead. "But think about it. You are a woman. You must give birth. I didn't want to either. I kept saying it was too early, but I gave birth and now I can't get enough of my little son." She looked lovingly at the stroller she was pushing in front of her. "You should have given birth at least for yourself. It's for the child and for life itself." "Sarah, I love you, but you've gone off the deep end, honestly," Marla said what she really thought. "I am just a woman. I am a person first and foremost. I want to live the way I need to, or the way someone told me to. I love my dog. I love my job, my little studio apartment. I love my life, and I like living this way. I am happy and get joy from life. Do I need to give birth because you gave birth or because someone said all women must give birth? It sounds terribly stupid. You were the first to give birth, and now you're pushing everyone that—" Marla continued, speaking calmly so as not to offend her friend. "You have some kind of herd instinct, honestly. If you gave birth, then everyone around must give birth. But all people are different. All women have the right to live the way they want. And I want to live for myself, not for children." "Well, you're a fool. You'll regret it. A woman's happiness is in children and family, not in dogs, apartments, and chocolates," Sarah cut off rudely. Marla looked at her friend again in bewilderment. "And what if your mother hadn't given birth to you?" "I wouldn't exist, and it wouldn't matter." "Okay, Sarah. It seems there's a reason we haven't seen each other for so long. I'm sorry that I no longer fit your ideal of a friend," said Marla, who was simply tired of listening every time about what a wonderful son Sarah had, what a wonderful husband she had, how happy she was to be a mother, and that Marla simply must give birth. This must complex appeared in her somehow excessively sharply. Sarah used to be cheerful and fun, free in her opinions, but after a year of marriage and 3 months as a mother, she seemed to have become a robot, where everyone around her owed her something. Marla continued, "We probably shouldn't see each other anymore. I don't want to hear that I owe someone something, that my dog is stupid, my job is abnormal, as you put it. I think I'm better off talking to other mothers whose lives are definitely going the way they should." Marla turned towards the enclosure. "Lila, come!" The dog instantly stopped playing and ran to his owner. She attached the leash and walked away into the distance. Sarah, stunned by such a statement, remained standing aside. Marla walked with the dog along the alley, and he followed step for step behind his owner. He looked at her with such love, as if there was nothing happier for this dog than simply being near his owner. Marla turned left onto a side street and walked along the sidewalk, bypassing the large park. She was tired of listening to her friend's reproaches. She was tired. They came out onto a semi-empty street. Marla took off the dog's leash. Lila ran freely beside her. Marla thought that Sarah wasn't completely honest with herself. She had seen her tears a million times, listened to her complaints, and such a life certainly didn't seem happy to her. Sarah's husband had literally forced her to give birth, claiming he would divorce her if he didn't become a father. She agreed with tears, and after she gave birth, her husband mentioned the child every time something went wrong. Now he didn't let her work. She could only leave the house with the stroller. Sarah's whole life had turned into a confinement, and Marla certainly didn't want such a life. She looked back and saw that the dog wasn't there. Marla flinched and called Lila, but he was nowhere to be seen. Marla started to run back, but then turned her head and saw a man lying on the ground. Everyone just walked past. No one helped him. Only Lila nudged him with his nose, barked and howled, trying to help the man. Marla rushed to the dog, fell to her knees, and checked the man's pulse. She called an ambulance. Lila circled around the man. "Good boy, well done," Marla said, stroking the dog behind the ear. When the ambulance arrived, the man was taken away, and Marla remained standing with the dog. She turned to the dog and said, "You did well, but you shouldn't have run off. If you'd called, I would have come after you. Understand?" The dog looked at her as if he understood, but from then on, she never let him off the leash. They went home along the long and again semi-empty street, where they had turned off the busy avenue where the man had been lying. Marla hardly thought about him. The ambulance staff took her phone number just in case, but it was unlikely they would call her. She didn't even know this man at all. Marla approached the multi-story building and entered her apartment. After having his paws washed, Lila lay down on his bed and almost immediately dozed off. Marla checked for new orders in her online store and went to make the ordered chocolates and candies she sold. Her hobby had turned into a real profession, and she earned excellent money. It seemed from the outside that her job looked abnormal. Even when people found out that Marla earned 3 times more than them, they still turned up their noses and said it wasn't a job at all. Turning on a series in the kitchen, the woman set about her work. She went into the living room for molds, and Lila's appearance didn't please her. The dog looked lethargic, and his eyes were watery. Marla examined him, but found no other symptoms of illness. She went back into the kitchen. One evening, when she was free and went into the living room again, she was already rushing headlong to the phone to call a taxi. Lila was unwell. Marla sat creaking in the back seat of the yellow taxi. Lila lay on the seat, his head on her lap. He was drooling heavily. He had a fever. The dog was breathing heavily and intermittently. Getting out of the car, she picked up the 20-kilogram dog, barely feeling his weight due to stress. The woman carried the dog into the clinic, and the doctors immediately took over the new patient. "I'm very sorry," the doctor said when he informed her of the diagnosis, "but we don't have the facilities to perform such operations. We'll keep him on a drip until morning, and then it's up to you. Either put him down or transport him, but you'll need specialized transport, and that will be quite expensive. Hundreds just to get there, and I don't know exactly how much after that, but the operation will cost a pretty penny. This kind of disease is not uncommon in this breed. You couldn't have influenced it. Go home, you need to think until morning." Marla cried all evening until deep into the night, until she fell asleep from tears and burning, stinging eyes. She cried because she didn't have that amount of money saved up. She didn't have acquaintances to borrow such an amount from either. Marla, still not losing hope, went to the clinic early in the morning. She cried in the taxi too, holding a bag with her savings. She would go to any lengths, but she would find the money for the operation. She just needed to transfer him. Just as the taxi pulled up to the doors of the round-the-clock expensive clinic, Marla got out and went straight to reception. But the doctor met her with wide eyes. "Your dog has already been taken," the doctor said. He looked surprised. "And the funds have been transferred to the account, and your dog should already be there. He was picked up about 2 hours ago." "I don't quite understand. Who made the payment then?" the doctor asked himself. "I did," said a man, getting up from a bench in the corridor. Marla looked at him and instantly recognized the man whom Marla's dog had essentially saved. People had all walked past. Everyone thought someone else would surely help him. but in the end, only Lila rushed to save the man. The man led the shaken woman with eyes red from tears outside to talk. "Don't worry. He's already there. They're preparing him for surgery. The doctors give almost 100% guarantee that everything will be fine. Because you acted very quickly. Your dog. Well, when I had a heart attack in the middle of the street, I might not have survived. No one helped me. Only your dog called you. I even remember him nudging my face with his cold nose. And everyone around didn't care. There's more humanity in a dog than in people. They gave me your number. My guys found you. They immediately told me there was trouble with your dog. I hurried to help. Time is of the essence here. A life for a life, as they say," the man said, smiling. "I'll never forget this. Thank you. I had gathered my last money, I was thinking. And then you—" She couldn't speak because she started crying again. "How can I thank you? It's not a small amount. I make amazing homemade chocolate. Would you like me to make it for you for the rest of my days to repay you?" "What nonsense. For me, it's not such a large amount. Let's do this. When your dog recovers and gets better, you'll go on a date with me. Well, since you want to thank me." The man smiled, and Marla involuntarily smiled back at him. Everything was wonderful now, but if Marla had been late in seeking help, Lila wouldn't have survived. Even this was clarified by her new acquaintance. And when he gave her proof that her friend Sarah had also had a hand in it, she was stunned. Marla first went to Sarah, but she immediately started crying in the hope that tears would help her justify herself. Only this time Marla was not moved by the tears. "I thought this was because of the dog. But you are a woman. If your dog had died, you would have wanted a child. We would have raised children together. We would have been friends like before," Sarah sobbed. "You know, Sarah, anyone capable of doing that to an animal, that person is capable of doing the same to a human," Marla said. "And in this life, everything comes back. Wait for payback. I believe in karma. Goodbye, Sarah. Live your happy family life and wait. Life will definitely settle the score with you." Marla went downstairs under the not-so-flattering remarks of her former friend. Their relationship was destroyed in an instant. Marla got into George's car. He smiled at her, and she smiled back involuntarily. The dog in the back seat rested his head on his owner's shoulder. She thought about the fact that fate does exist after all, as if fate had sent George to save Lila, who might not have survived because of Sarah. Marla believed that George and Lila were sent by fate itself, and from now on everything would be well for them.